Why is it that so many of us have this tendency to try and do everything all by ourselves? We take on this sense of responsibility and we think that in order to be self-made, we got to grind alone and it's going to be a struggle. And, we want to take on all of this responsibility, maybe for a stronger sense of satisfaction, or that in order to feel a stronger sense of achievement, we have to do it by ourselves. I think that is the furthest thing from the truth. Have you ever heard of the concept of vanity, right? For those of y'all that are unaware, vanity is essentially just isolated ego, right? Where you are separating yourself from all else that exists, right? So you are separate from, the power that is greater than you. You are separate from your neighbor. You are separate from, you know, your coworkers, people on the bus, people on the road, etc. You get what I'm saying? You think that you are an individual and you are just you and it's singular and that's all that it is. And as a result, you want to take on uh, the approach to your goals in a way where it's like you're on your own and you don't need nobody else. And in order to get to where you're destined to be, you're going to do it alone. And that's going to make you feel a strong sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. I heard this quote by a very successful entrepreneur that went, if you want to go fast, do it alone. And if you want to go far, build a team. So, of course, that's in the context of business, right? And it's definitely an approach that I've implemented into my business, where it's like, yo, this is not just about me; it's about collective success, and I want to, build something very meaningful, long term. And I think I can do that. But in order to do that, I need to find specialists in all these other areas where they're essentially better than me at their jobs, right? It's not about me trying to be the best at every single task, but you know putting people in positions where they can shine, and we can achieve collective success together. I think that same approach, whether it's in business or just in life, like just trying to accomplish your own goals, it's extremely relevant, right? Because if you think that you can achieve your dream life by yourself, you're immensely mistaken, right? Because the power that is responsible for my existence and yours is greater than all of us. You're not greater than God, right? There are so many elements of this reality, of this existence, that we have no control of. And that same lack of control applies in our individual lives to a certain degree, right? You need to look at yourself as the co-captain, so to speak, right? There's a lot that you can influence, but there's a lot that you can't influence as well. If you're not where you want to be today, like right now, it's not because you're incapable, but it's just that you're unaware of your own capabilities and the capabilities of God, right? You don't lack abundance. You just lack awareness to the fact that abundance exists within all life, right? So it really is just a matter of enhancing and increasing your level of awareness to all that exists. You know what I'm saying? But again, if you are someone that is like religiously practice this mindset of like, I don't need nobody, I got this, I'm gonna do it by myself, you are very, very mistaken. And I really urge you to reevaluate your perception of, um, you know, goal achievement and what that process looks like, because there is a power that is greater than you that is guiding you. But how much do you believe in it? How much do you lean on it? And how much faith do you have in it? You know, the process of reality creation in itself is called co-creation for a reason. Like, that power lies within you, but you're still living within the confines of that power. You know what I'm saying? So there's no need to feel like you need to do it alone, because you're connected to this same power that wants you to win, that wants to put you on the path of success, of your greatest desires. And the universe will always take the path of least resistance, right? Whether that's in your favor or not. It's just a matter of, what it is that we put our attention and focus into. I remember early on when I first started my first business, it was a drop shipping store. And this was the exact mentality that I had, where it was like, I kind of just wanted to like isolate myself from, all the people at school. And I just wanted to like lock in on what it was that I was doing. And I was able to find some short term success. It's not that you can't, find any forms of success um, with this like individualistic approach. It's just a matter of like maximum potential, right? And if, oh, wow, beautiful butterfly. And maximizing your potential. And if you want to create something meaningful, again, like business is the example that I'm giving because I feel like business is such a relatable example on so many levels. But if you continue to live in this state of vanity, you are essentially depriving yourself of your own natural abilities that lie within you. You know what I mean? There's no need to isolate yourself and unconsciously separate yourself from your greater good. And a lot of us do this without even knowing it, right? And that's why I always say awareness is the greatest form of intelligence, because without awareness, how are you supposed to reevaluate what steps you take or not to, rather, right? If you're doing something right, if you don't have the awareness that you're doing something right, how would you know to continue with these actions, to continue with these practices and these states of mind? And if you're doing something wrong, but you're unaware of what it is that's, hindering the process of getting to where it is that you're trying to get to, how would you know, right? Awareness is where everything begins. And that's why, when we say like, raising your frequency, um, attuning yourself with a higher frequency, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Higher awareness, recognizing more, picking up on things that you might have not been able to pick up on before. And that's why I'm always want to be like, bro, like you need to get to nature. Like you need to get into the heart of nature, because within nature is when everything becomes clear. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you will find all the answers, is within stillness. You feel me? Just remember that when you try and tell yourself that you can do it alone and that you don't need nobody, you don't need nothing, you got this all by yourself, you are separating yourself and disconnecting yourself from that same power that wants you to win, right? And that will accelerate the process in significantly less time. I think that's what this is about at the end of the day. Like, all of us want to attain our goals, yes, but we want to attain our goals in the shortest amount of time possible, because we all understand that, this shit is temporary. Like, we're not always going to be, within the confines of this reality. So, attuning ourselves with that power in the shortest amount of time possible is in our better interest. Hold up. Because in doing so, we essentially close the gap in when our desires manifest and the amount of time that we have to wait, right? And that's why I love using business as an example. Within business, and again, like I could use my business as an example. I was talking about earlier how it's all about putting the right people in the right positions and finding people who are essentially better at their jobs than I would ever be, right? I think within, the context of achieving our goals, it's the same deal. It's like recognizing what your skill set is, what it is that you are to contribute to this process of getting towards your goals, because there is a lot that we can control, as I said, but there's a lot that we can't control. But it all begins with your attitude, right? Because that is the number one thing that we can control. But then knowing when to hand off the keys and be like, yo, like you got this, right? And in that, I'm referring to, the universe, right? And acknowledging that, like I need to surrender. Like there are things that like I simply can't do that you can. So I'm going to allow you to do that. And I'm going to do that by letting go and detaching from the outcome, because I know that you're going to hold down your job. You're going to do what you're supposed to do. Just like in business, where it's like, I trust that my team is going to do what they need to do. And I don't need to hover over their shoulders, telling them like, yo, do it this way, do it this way. Of course, you give creative input from time to time, but it's like at the end of the day, you trust that they're going to do their job in the way that they need to do it. Same goes with your goals, man. Stop trying to do it all by yourself. you couldn't have a greater partner in the universe. But right now, if you have the mindset of, like, I'm gonna do it all by myself, I don't need nobody, I got this, it's because you lack the awareness of the greater good that exists. You lack the awareness of, the abundance that exists and that is ready for you to claim, right? Co-creation, co-creation. This was gonna be a nice, quicker little video for y'all. I love y'all so much. I'm sending you guys so much love, so much positive energy. Hope you have an amazing week, amazing weekend. You know what I mean? I will catch y'all in the next video. It's KT.